Hello, friends. A little hot. A little bit hot on the microphone. Hello, friends. Welcome to Talking to Famous People. My name's host Eric, and I'm here to say this place to live stream is totally gay. I need to move my chair a little bit. This is a bad place to be. I need to be actually looking at the TV directly rather than having to meow my meow all the time. I don't want to meow my meow all the time, obviously. So here I am in Mariposa and apparently successfully live streaming, despite having relatively shitty DSL. I mean, I got the best internet I can get right here, but it's not very good compared to my old internet. But it says I have an excellent connection, so I guess that's good enough. Sometimes during the day I have less Wi-Fi than others, it seems like. I saw the Sierra tell people out working on the phone things the other day, so maybe they were doing something useful, I don't know. As you may be able to hear my voice, I am sick. I'm still a little bit sick. I got sick like the day after we moved in, which really sucked ass, but is just how life goes, you know? It's weird, the things that I got accustomed to being very frustrated by in the process of moving no longer frustrate me very much because the world's right side up, you know? It's not like it was where everything's backwards and everything sucks ass all the time. Now, even though there are problems here, they're my problems. I own them. And that makes all the difference. So, what kind of problems are there here? Well, good morning, Eric. What are your thoughts on an INTJ male, INFJ female relationship? It won't last. My thoughts on it. It won't last at all because each of your tool functions is the other person's polar function. That's not a good thing. It's not good. It means neither of you are responsive or get it all or just are completely deaf to the fundamental operating procedure of the other. It's not a good way to. The thing is, there's an immediate recognition and kind of attraction between the two. It stems from the fact that they're both NI-DOMs, right? Both being NI-DOMs mean they say, hey, you know right, you know the same way I do, and you know first and foremost, just like I do. But the tool function polar thing is going to drive each of the people crazy because neither party is going to listen or respect or understand any of the tool function behavior of the other person. I need this to blow my nose on. I need my cup of coffee to drink. Yeah, I got quite a bad cold shortly after moving in. But I'm on the mend. Learn to argue with respect to feelings. Okay. Mornings welcomes to the new planet of residential placement for the Erics. Thank you, Show Media. Yeah, it's a pretty great place. Pretty comfortable house, but we have had a couple problems. You know, learning the joys of home ownership includes when Rachel took a bath yesterday upstairs, water started pouring through the ceiling of the kitchen. This is definitely something the house inspector should have caught, but didn't. You know. So Rachel was livid, but I just took it as stride. Whatever. Let's call a plumber. You know, right now I'm still in the mindset of these are the expenses of moving. You know, the expenses of getting a new house includes what you pay for it, plus the repairs you have to make initially, and things like filling the propane tank, which everything in here runs off propane, and the propane tank was almost empty, so it cost $1,500 to fill up, you know. But I like that way of paying for energy. You pay in advance for it instead of paying after you use it, you know. We got this in the mail yesterday. Directed to the Strauss Family Trust at our new address. This is the title and stuff. The deed to the house or whatever. What's the difference between a relationship with your first fifth swapped and your first fourth swapped? Okay, so you're talking about NINE versus NI versus NESI for me. Well, so you're talking about duality versus mirage, according to socionics terms, right? The difference is in duality relationship, which is like ENSP-ISJ, you help each other suck less at your inferior function, your fourth slot function. Or you cover the, I'm not leasing Jeremiah Fix, I bought and own the home. Oh, it's in the leasing contract. No, you can do it that way. No, we lease the actual tank, but it's only like $60 a year. And they do have a another option than the one we chose, where they come by regularly and check your propane levels and fill it back up every time it gets down to 30 or 40%. But we didn't choose that one because I'll call it when we run low, you know, I'll call them and they'll come up, and they were here the same day we called them, so whatever. JS West is the company that does the propane. Logan is our propane driver. I met him, talked to him for a bit. He was crazily doing his job in a t-shirt. There's snow on the ground and it's cold outside, and he's like getting in a t-shirt and not even noticing it. You know, he must be a native up here or something, because there's no way I would go outside in a t-shirt. Yeah, but we do have to lease the actual big propane tank, which fills up with 300 and some odd gallons of propane. What I what I'm finding hard to believe is that this house is actually on septic, because we have municipal water. If it is on septic, does that mean that all of the water that goes down the drain goes into the septic tank? Whether it's from the toilet, the sink, the dishwasher, whatever. If so, we're gonna have to. So, oh, I never finished answering that question, huh? So, money, duality. You make each other. You provide cover for the weakness of your fourth slot of the partner, but as a consequence, you don't really validate the partner's dominant function, because you're saying you should be more like your inferior, or here, let me help you be more like your inferior. If you're if you are if you're talking about the 1-5 mirage relationship, then you actually validate each other in a meaningful way. Because in duality, the fourth slot function that you're getting help with, you're always going to invariably think it's what should be getting given less attention in order that your dominant can have more attention. In other words, it's the deal with the devil you made by being you, is that you're gonna sacrifice fourth to be first. So when somebody comes and fills in the empty part of fourth, that's helpful and you appreciate it, sort of, but you already made that deal with the devil, and you're already okay with the fact on some level that you're not getting as much fourth slot as you may be conscious that you should. Generally, people understand that they suck at their fourth slot function, would like to delegate it, etc. You know, it's their conscious weakness. They're aware of it, and they're not very defensive about it either. They just say, "Well, that's just not my thing." You know, I'm not into that thing. Now, if you have a mirage relationship, the person actually validates you, because your fifth slot function is such a powerful absolute value, especially for the external world. Anything that's not you, you expect it to at least minimally validate on the fifth slot function, or else you'll hate it. So when somebody maximally validates on your fifth slot function, it takes a while for you to understand how much you appreciate and love that person. It's less instant than ISFJ ENTP, right? Like ISFJ ENTP for me was the duality relationship was instant connection. Just like, oh my God, you're like a long lost friend that I haven't met in a long time, but I've never met you before. And then it gradually gets worse and worse and worse. It starts off brilliant and gets worse and worse. And the opposite with the mirage relationship. It starts off being a mirage and gets real over time. Um, Gasoline, I'm an EHP. My Myers Caetulina. Myers Caetulina. Well, I'll get to your question money in a second. I mean, Amy's a pretty good typer, um, but and she's probably pretty good at identifying FI, especially because she's an FI tool user. So I think she's probably right, but you might want a second opinion. I mean, if you thought FE tool, well, here's an example of FE tool versus FE third that happened yesterday. We couldn't. Rachel went to check the mail. It turns out there's a lock on the mailbox. Interestingly, it's a shittily designed mailbox, so she's still able to put her hand into it and get the mail. She's got such small hands, I guess. I couldn't fit my hand in there. But anyway, she wanted to immediately call David and tell him we need to find the key to the mailbox. He didn't leave us the key. And I said, hold on a second. Let me make sure I don't already have the key. And I tried my key that I thought was the mailbox key, and I didn't try very hard, and it didn't work, right? So then she called David. He called back. It turned out that, in fact, I do have the mailbox key. It was the one that I thought it might be, but I just didn't do a very good job of putting it in the hole, I guess. The point is, FE tool, you always think the correct approach to every problem is to ask somebody else, or tell somebody else, or involve somebody else. You never think it's a good idea to figure it out yourself. And when you don't want to involve or ask somebody else, you just do random shit until something happens. That's FE tool, TE polar, SE polar. For the case of your first bit swap, what's the difference between second third swap and second sixth swap? For example, ENTP, INFJ versus INTJ. Well, I mean, ENTP, INTJ is not a bad relationship, I don't think. I've never been in such a relationship, but I believe it could be sustainable. Um, well, Shalom, Spacey is the one who comes to mind when I think about 8th slot FI. Um, he got his feelings hurt. It's instead of more like being treated unfairly, it was. I mean, 8th slot is more of a problem when dealing with other people than it is anything else. That's true for INFPs as well as INTPs and ESTPs and ENTPs and every type. 8th slot's a problem when dealing with other people. I don't want anybody to step on my SE, for sure. And ISPs don't want anybody to step on their FI, for sure. Thanks, Oklamo, appreciate it. Rejection dysphoria. I mean, I've never heard that expression before, but possibly. Oh, Clubby SFP is back. He hasn't changed much at all, unsurprisingly. So I bet he's not going to be talking about me anymore. I bet there's zero mention of Eric now. He's probably learned his lesson that he doesn't want to piss me off. He probably realized that he can't possibly tilt at this windmill without getting his ass whooped, you know. So good for him. Let him do his thing. I was never opposed to him doing his thing in peace. He was just a complete idiot to think he could take me on, you know. I mean, he's just a complete idiot, period. But there's zero chance he could take me on, you know. I'm going to whip his ass every time, all up and down the block, all day long, every day, forever. I'm not even in that mode anymore, you know. Now that I'm up here, I'm not in a fighting mode at all. Things happen, I don't feel like yelling at anybody. I'm just not an angry person anymore all of a sudden. Takes a second to get used to it, but yeah, I'm not angry anymore. Nothing to be angry about. There's some frustrations around here, but they don't even barely frustrate me. I couldn't be doing any better except for the fact that I'm sick. I feel like the luckiest person in the world, really. I got everything I wanted and nothing I don't. Of course Rachel and Eric are still together. We're gonna get married as soon as we're done burying people. And last night was such a good night's sleep. And part of the reason is I recommended Rachel. Rachel doesn't like where the master bedroom is. She doesn't want that I'm going to be in the master bedroom. I said, well, go take the room you want upstairs, dude. Just go move into that room. You don't need me to go move in there with you. You're just upstairs. Now I'm in the master bedroom and you're in the slave quarters. It's fine. I slept so much better last night. I just slept like an absolute rock. Of course, it probably helped that oh yeah, you're terrible at predicting relationship results. If you ever predicted Rachel and I were going to break up. It's been obvious that to everybody who can evaluate relationships that Rachel and I are the golden pair, you know, for a long, long time. We're never going to break up. Not in a billion, trillion years. I gotta smoke a cigarette. But anyway, the night before last, when it was me, Rachel, and both cats in the bed in the master bedroom, oh my God. Could it have been any more crowded? I just had to be like, oh. I mean, look. Predicting that Rachel and I are going to break up is exactly the same thing as betting now that the Cubs are going to win the World Series. I don't know if the Cubs are really that shitty right now. Who's the shittiest baseball team? And I tell you what it's like. It's like betting right now that the Expos are going to win the World Series. That's how wrong it was. That's how crazily uninformedly wrong it was. So if you bet right now that the Expos are going to win the World Series, you can no longer claim you're good at predicting sports outcomes because you're so horribly wrong about that one that you can't possibly be good about it. You may be great at betting sports, but you're horrible at betting relationships, okay? Because anybody who had any sense of what a relationship was like could tell immediately, well, not immediately, but after the first 4 or 5 months that Rachel and I were never splitting up. Now, where's my lighter slash torch slash whatever? I smoke pot in the house. I don't smoke cigarettes in the house, though. And of course, I left my torch outside. Like a fool. Like a damn fool. No, there's zero possibility Rachel and I ever break up. Look, I know betting tipsy happen. I'm not saying you want us to break up. I am saying you may be great at betting on lots of things, but the fact that you thought Rachel and I were gonna break up, that would be the best bet, indicates you should never bet on relationship futures. That's all I'm saying. Because we're not going to break it up. And we're so obviously happy together, you know? It's such a good relationship. I've never even seen anybody in such a good relationship. I know you never actually put money on. I'm just telling you. If in fact you were going to go to a gambling parlor, bet on something other than people's relationships, especially if you're effing poor. It's not. No, I don't think you wanted to have it. I'm not critiquing you, okay? I'm just saying. Bet on something other than relationship futures because the data you thought might lend to us breaking up was not indicative of that, and so you read it wrong, right? So if you were going to bet on something, like I would bet, for example, that Harry and Meghan Markle will eventually break up. Well, what about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Where would you put your money there? Betting tips 3,000. Would you bet that they will eventually break up, or that they're going to stay together? Trouble does beat me at everything, so. Well, okay, week SE and week TE looks like this. Rachel, if there's a problem, she'll first try to ask somebody else. But if asking somebody else is going to make her look bad or or annoy the other person, then instead of trying to figure it out, she'll just start pushing buttons at random, right? Until something happens. um, like, if you had it reversed, fourth slot TE, SE polar, like an INFP, well, INFPs are much less crippled by their SE polar than INTPs are. INTPs are really crippled by it. Because INFPs have fourth slot TE, which is to say, if they come across a problem, they consciously figure out how to deal with it on it according to its rules, right? And their SE polar manifests mostly as I don't want to, and therefore will not. INTP's SE polar manifests as I want to, but I can't. It's much worse. I want to make you happy with my FE fourth slot, but I can't with my SE polar. INFP is like, I want to do what I want to do. Oh, now I have to figure it out. Okay, now I figured it out. My dominant function is doing what I want. So then I do that little bit of thing that required for what I want. No problem. It's the external world that's constantly trying to make me SE. With INTPs, they have no idea what they want at all, even less than me, because 8 slot function is more unconscious than 7. And what they do have consciousness of is how they want to make other people happy, but they're bad at it. So now other people call them and say, I need you to do meow. And they go, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then they find they can't because they're SE polar. They keep procrastinating, putting it off. So eventually they get into this this meow cocoon where they say, I'm just not going to commit to anything or agree to anything. People will believe that. Betting tips 3,000. I believe that you hate people fighting and arguing. Why would I not believe that? I believe that. Megan will break under 2 conditions. Taking half the stuff is more efficient, or she finds a bigger source to leech from. I mean, the thing is, she won't win in a divorce proceeding. That's the problem she has. Regardless of the fact that she's married to him, she won't win in a divorce proceeding, either in America or in the UK. It's red now. There, now it's green again. Okay. Hopefully it stays green. That's yellow. I don't know. The internet's not really working great right now. But the point is, Meghan Markle can't and won't win in a divorce court proceeding for the following reasons. One, she had a good career when she married him. Okay. I might have to stop this stream and reset the internet, but I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette and then I'll come back and decide that. Yeah, I know. I might have to stop this stream and restart the internet. Okay, well, I'm going to stop this stream now and reset the internet. I may start streaming again after I'm done with that.